If you're visiting India, a country Mark Twain once called the cradle of the human race, then you've got to try paying via India's digital cashless system called UPI. I published a YouTube short recently about withdrawing cash from ATMs in India, but even if you're visiting for just a few weeks, UPI is the real one to get your head around. Say goodbye to really expensive credit card fees and going from ATM to ATM to withdraw your cash. And by the way, have you ever realized that when you're abroad and you go to an ATM for cash, whatever you withdraw is always slightly less than you eventually need? Anyway, I digress. India's UPI is the answer to this. But wait, there is a problem if you're a tourist and trying to access UPI. There has been an announcement about tourists being able to access UPI, at least tourists from a few countries, and they can access it just like Indian citizens can. But it has been tough to get UPI up and running if you don't have an Indian bank account. Even if you are from this select group of countries, which includes the UK. Some airports have a way for you to get a UPI wallet and top it up for you there. But I don't really see this as a cost-effective option, predominantly because the rate you get isn't clear and the commission structure isn't clear either. And of course, what happens if you want more money loaded into your UPI wallet after you've left the airport? I searched around for quite some time, trying to access the local GPay app, which is the Google Pay in India. I used PhonePe, I used Paytm, but none of that really worked for me. And if you're from abroad, you're probably enticed to use GPay more than anything else, predominantly because you think it's something like your Google Pay app back at home. Well, let me just dispel that myth for you. I've got Google Pay at home and I tried that and it doesn't work. The look is similar, but the functionality is very different. I then came across one UPI app that says it's dedicated for tourists, so things were looking up. This app was called Cheq, C-H-E-Q. I found you could use it with a UK number or an Indian number. So if you're in India and you take out a local SIM card, say Airtel or Jio for example, then you can still use this Cheq app and that's no problem at all. My first impressions, Cheq was a bit of a weird name, but I went along with that. And because I really wanted to pay like a desi and use UPI, I gave it a go. The main thing to consider for me was that I wanted to be able to load my UPI wallet with a source of funds that wasn't based in India. So for example, for me, I wanted to load it with a UK debit card or a UK credit card. And that's exactly the kind of thing Cheq allows you to do. Here's how I did it so you know the process in advance. The first thing to note is that you need your documents verified in person by a Cheq representative. And they don't have these reps or agents everywhere. Big cities, yes, you're fine. But outside of that, availability is a bit sparse. From what I could tell, their agent network seems to be growing, but it isn't anywhere near what it needs to be yet. I was in Mumbai, so that worked out well for me, and I arranged via WhatsApp to meet this Cheq representative, at my hotel at a mutually convenient time. After that, and while I was waiting, I went through the Cheq registration process. I downloaded the app and went through the registration screens. Cheq takes full advantage of the fact that it is the one, perhaps the only UPI app that is suitable for foreigners, for tourists in the country at the moment. And it charges you £8, roughly $10, 799 rupees for signing up. Wait, what? It charges you to access UPI, the digital payments interface. Shouldn't that kind of be free? So yes, it probably should be free, and yes, that's what I was expecting. None of the other UPI apps seem to charge any fees whatsoever, but I can't actually tell how apps like Cheq make their money. And it was a relatively small amount and I really wanted to use the UPI, so I was happy to pay it. In fact, I was more interested in how the loading of funds worked and whether it would incur any FX conversion rate or any currency rate loading fees. I did a bit of checking and was assured there would be no further fees from Cheq, and that FX transactions, if you choose to load in INR that is, it does give you a choice. If you choose to load in INR, then no further commissions would be charged and you would get the exact spot rate at the time you are loading your fees into your UPI wallet. When you load funds into your Cheq UPI app, it does ask you, much like ATMs do, whether you want to load funds in INR, Indian rupees, or in British pounds in my case, in the UK. I always choose the local currency because I know my card doesn't charge me fees for currency conversions. So you pay your 799 rupee fee through the app, and once you've completed the registration process, you hand your documents over to your agent to verify. As I said before, I arranged to meet my agent in advance via WhatsApp while I was zigzagging through the busy streets of Mumbai in a rickshaw. After that, the process was pretty quick. The agent that came to meet me didn't have a clue about how the rest of Cheq worked, but the document verification process took about 10 minutes. After he left, within about 5 minutes, I was up and running. I could load my UPI wallet fee-free with my specialist travel debit card and withdraw any remaining balance just as easily once I was done using UPI and once I was leaving the country. In between, I was using UPI happily everywhere, and I mean everywhere. From rickshaw drivers to small stalls for a bag of crisps, to larger stores where I was simply the money man completing a transaction that my wife had begun. I used it in restaurants and hotels as well. For all of these types of vendors, they get real benefits from not having to pay credit card transaction fees and not having to deal with cash as well. For tourists like me, it saved me on some fees as well, and it actually made my wallet a hell of a lot lighter because I wasn't carrying so many rupees around. Getting UPI as a tourist, as a foreigner in India, could be much easier, but I do understand there are various AML and KYC procedures that have to be followed. And if you don't have an Indian bank account, then this can be a bit more involved. I'm also very confident that it will get better over time. I do guarantee that once you do have UPI though, you'll wonder how you ever did without it and wonder why you'd ever need to carry cash in India again. I hope that's been useful. If it has been, smash the like button and follow for more videos like this. See you on the next one.